I'm back on a walk this evening on Thingamajig Square, which we saw briefly yesterday, the Venceslas Square. What we've got here is Garras. These folk have come in here with their feet to get their feet picked off by Garras. Now that's actually a prescribed resource for psoriasis sufferers, but if you haven't got psoriasis, then I don't know what these fish are going to do for your feet just by pecking off the dead skin. Anyway, they seem to be finding something to eat on there. That guy's got a bandage on his foot. They'll have that off for starters. Anyway, it's just like a normal fish tank here, but full of garras, and you know, in my opinion, probably a little bit overpopulated. I don't think much of the filter they got in there, so basically, there you go, that's Garra. So-called doctor fish, but they're going to need to doctor themselves if they're that heavily populated in there. This is supposed to be Thai paradise, but Garra isn't a Thai fish, and that isn't a Thai solution, but nevertheless, here we got another bunch. Garra's a beautiful fish in its own right. It could be kept in a tank and just enjoyed for its playfulness, instead of which they're sort of pressed into action here. There we are, there we've got the Thai shop and people waiting around to perform their craft. I'm not sure they've got what ho or what ho people there, but in any event they're real Thais, that's for sure. Right. So if you want to go in there and say Sawat di Krap if you're a man, or Sawat di Ka if you're a woman, then you can go in there and they will say it back and put their hands together. I'm a little bit hungry, and I was going to go to North Sea and get some fish sandwich, but they close that at 9 o'clock. I just can't understand the point in closing something like that at 9 o'clock. Makes no sense at all to me, and nevertheless that's what they did. Passage Ustiblu. Well, I'm at one of the airport duty-frees. I'm not particularly filming which one because I'm sure it's the same in all of them. They're saying new alcohol limits to EU countries and new tobacco limits to EU countries. So you now have all passengers travelling to EU countries allowed to bring for their own use 10 litres of spirits above 22%, 20 which are equal to or less than 22%, and fortified wine, 90 litres of wine, 110 litres of beer for their own use. 800 cigarettes, which are 4 cartons, except Austria, which only allows you to take 2 cartons. A kilogram of tobacco, 400 cigarillos, 200 cigars. Well, let's leave maybe out of it for a minute the issue of whether or not it's a good idea to smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol. Certainly alcohol has its place. That's even in the Bible. Smoking seems to me to be a pointless and odd exercise. I don't see any other parts of God's creation inhaling smoke intentionally. It seems to be completely perverse, and I for one wouldn't do it. To me, I feel violated if anybody smokes, or if I can even smell smoke. So I'm not talking really about that aspect. but just the fact that we were informed when we all voted to join the European Union that we would then be allowed to have for own use without any kind of limitations. The limits would go, and the only limitation would be personal use. Now they've decided what personal use is. And okay, without wishing to encourage anybody to smoke in any way, I've already said what I think about it, but 4 cartons of fags don't get you very far. Neither do, what was it, 20 bottles, I've walked away from it now, of fortified wine. So it seems to me as though they've basically told us what they think our personal use allowance is, and that we've got to keep going back and travelling again. Now, of course, travelling between in and out of the cheaper parts of the EU for where wine is made and therefore costs less money, or where the revenue taxes might be a little bit lower than in other parts of the EU, that maybe doesn't cost all that much, but still it seems to me as though the whole premise that we were brought into the EU on, or one of the premises, free movement of goods, free movement of labour. What if somebody's got themselves a huge wine collection and decides that they want to simply work in another part of the EU and move to another part of the EU? Do they have to tax their wine collection for moving from one part to another? If they want to take their personal cellar with them, they know it's for personal use, they can show that it is. Do they have to tax it again? That wasn't the basis on which we went into the European Union. So what we now have in the European Union is this: we have erosion of the benefits which were sold to us as the basis on which we were voting in countries like, well, all of these Eastern European countries, like the one I'm in now, Prague. Erosion of all of those rights, bit by bit, at increase of the liabilities. We're all being expected, especially those in the Eurozone, Czech Republic happily isn't, erosion of rights at the same time, an increase in responsibilities, because even those outside the Eurozone are having some pressure placed on them to assist in the bailout of the countries within the Eurozone who have got failed economies. In particular, we're talking about and it's not a very nice way of describing them, but the pigs, the Portugal, Italy, Greece and Spain, the so-called pigs of Europe, which is, not only do they have to go through the humiliation of asking to be bailed out, which some of them haven't yet. Italy hasn't asked for any bailout, but is at risk of needing to ask for a bailout. Spain hasn't asked for a bailout. I think we're talking about mainly Portugal and Greece at the moment. But to be described as pigs is not exactly. Where does that fit with this constitution of rights and what have you? So here we have looks like the one that they're going to send to Warsaw, but it can't be because we're on the ground floor. This is where you dock in from the second floor. Ours will be a flight which we go to by bus and get loaded in the back and the front, and the back is where the first class is instead of the front. But anyway, it's interesting to see how these things dock up to the plane. The plane gets put in place. The pilot can't exactly see everything down on the ground. They probably take it too far or not far enough, so there's actually ways of bringing it in. Either it's towed in the last bit by the bottom, or just hooked in under the nose. There's a little hook under the nose. That's where it all went wrong for me 2 weeks ago, which is why today I had to buy another ticket, and they said that I could only buy a first class ticket, and the fact that I get upgraded to first class anyway, she said she didn't have a mechanism for selling me a second class which I could upgrade. So there we are. I had to buy a first class ticket. I've got that all recorded on a slightly different means of recording that I carry, so I can get that compensated by the travel agent who recklessly cancelled me when I asked them not to cancel my return at the time when, on the 10th of May, the nose came off that Warsaw flight. That's not the same plane probably as the Warsaw, because obviously Czech Airlines has a larger fleet, but there's a place under the nose where there's a hook. This one that's being drawn along there is being drawn along by a vehicle that's hooked up underneath it there. can see where it's hooked in there. But, oh, final call. Oh, it's over there. Oh dear, I'm on the wrong side. Okay. Well, today I've taken a... and this is a very bad day to be doing it on, actually, but I've taken a bus. It's a bad day to be doing it on because my handle on my suitcase is broken and I'll have to walk like a kilometre holding a very heavy suitcase, picking it up. And it's all thanks to this cretin who came to visit us for no reason to whinge on about America's involvement in our shale oil deposits. Obama. Couldn't get Ella to give me a proper taxi. The road is all blocked off so that people can't go down it normally. Everybody else is unimportant. The government people that are supposed to be our servants, they're the important ones. They can travel, we have to wait around for them, or carry suitcases a kilometre to suit them. And you wouldn't care, but he's an awful person. I don't think he's the actual Antichrist per se, but he's certainly a type of Antichrist. He's certainly a forerunner. There you go. I was born in Warsaw, looking very sad. That Mary Curie, it's her year now. They did it all with Chopin last year. Now they've got Curie, Mary Curie, another person that couldn't abide living in Poland and went to live in France. Then we got the television centre to watch the drive past of Obama. I don't know whether I'm going to get the drive past of Obama on this or not, but we'll see. I managed to grab a pretty good one of Lech Kaczynski's coffin not so long ago. So if I can get that, I should be able to get the drive out of Obama. It's a pity really, isn't it? This is just a camera and not something more potent than that. It should have a sense beam attached to it, where if I see somebody I can just press a button and a beam goes to them, put some sense in their head.
Przystanek Leżaiska. Przystanek na żądanie. Następny przystanek Leżaiska. Przystanek na żądanie.
Not much seems to be being allowed to go around here. How long this will last for, I have no idea. Whether it's going to be a short thing or whether they're going to do it for hours and hours and hours on end, just to show how powerful they are in comparison to the normal person, is anybody's guess. And how many police they've got out here just wasting our taxes just to look after this hopeless President of the United States. there's a few cars are still being allowed to go backwards and forwards on it.
Przystanek Nowoty.
I would normally go by taxi from the airport, even though normally my thing would work, but just today, because of bloody Obama, I have to put up with this shit. It's really unbelievable, after all the shit I've already had today, and some of it filmed, some of it not filmed. It's just very wearing, I can tell you, very wearing. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's just a little bit. I don't think that was the big man himself. One more after this and I have to get out. I'll keep the camera rolling when I get out, but I'll just stick it in my pocket.
Następny przystanek Krakowiec.
Actually, I have one more after that.
Przystanek Krakowiec.
A słuchaj, no nie zjadłem tego, co miałem. Zarząd ktoś tylko to na chwilę dalej. Nie, co nie słuchaj.
Next one should be Pruszkowska.
Następny przystanek Pruszkowska.
Right, so I'll do the usual drill then and get out.
Przystanek Pruszkowska. Następny przystanek Uniwersytet Medyczny.
Hang on, you haven't come to this one yet. Don't give us University Medicine yet. Right. That's pretty heavy, that suitcase that I've got in my right hand. I really don't fancy going all that way with it. could do is just drop it in a shop and come back with a car and collect it. Oh dear. Right, there's a red light. Where's my green light? There it is. This one's there in the middle of the road doing his laces up. Długo jeszcze będzie?
Jeszcze długo.
Jeszcze długo? To ja nie stoję po niego. On nie ma tyle fanów co papież, prawda?
Nie, nie.
Ani tyle co Lech Kaczyński.
No, na pewno.
And quite right too. I said to the policeman, he hasn't got as many fans as the Pope, has he? And he says no. And I said, not as many as Lech Kaczyński either. Certainly not. So, as you see, there's almost no friends of the United States willing to stand out and watch Obama drive past. It's a total non-event. Total non-event. All it is one great big inconvenience. Not something we feel like celebrating. And that's how we really know that the guy, actually he's a type of Antichrist, he's not actually the Antichrist. Because the Antichrist would be undergoing massive worldwide popularity. Anyway, according to premillennialism, this rise of the Antichrist would only be after the rapture anyway, and the rapture hasn't happened yet, much as it was mooted by Mr. Camping. I look as though I have to really walk back because there's not really anything I would have got on that, but it's only one stop, and it's gone now, and it's starting to rain. So I think what I'm just going to do is turn this film off, use my belt to strap around where that luggage thing is now and pull it along that half mile. That'll do it.